Even though classes start in 2 months, there is a lot of talk about how college is going to look like in the fall. Will it be in person or will it be online? Honestly, what I think is going to happen is that Hey guys, what's up? It's Danny. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what college might look like in the fall. Ever since the coronavirus outbreak happened, there has been a lot of talk and debate on how college will look like in the future. Will college resume online? Will college be in person? Or will it be a little bit of both? There are thousands of colleges in the country, and obviously every school has its own plan. There's actually this really good website I found that kind of has a summary of every college's plan. I'm going to leave it down below in the description. Now for me, I'm going to be a senior at the University of Miami, and the school sent out an official email with their plans for reopening and the fall semester. Some of these plans include starting classes earlier in August, ending earlier so that after Thanksgiving nobody travels back from their home, and lastly they have an extensive plan to handle coronavirus on campus. Little by little, more schools are revealing their plans to return for the fall, and according to the New York Times, 2/3 of colleges have confirmed that they plan to return on campus. In this video, I'm just going to talk about the basic plans that can happen for college, but keep in mind that every school is different, so make sure that you're staying on top of your emails to make sure that you know what's going on. So the first scenario, which I think is the worst one, is having classes fully online, no in-person teaching. Pretty much like what happened in the spring, but this time it's going to be Zoom University Part 2. A good example to look at were the California State Universities. They were the first ones to declare that their fall semester would be heavily online, with the exception of some clinical classes, essential lab classes that just can't be taught virtually, as well as some activities. Schools taking this approach might have their campus slightly open. The residential and dorming life is still up in the air, but there are still mixed feelings about this. In my opinion, as a full-time college student, having that in-person class interaction is completely irreplaceable, and I really started appreciating it once Zoom University happened last spring. Guys, I f***ing hated Zoom, and I am 100% sure that I am not the only one that hated it. For me, as much as college stresses me out and I'm always tired, there's just a feeling about being on campus, going to the library, studying, going to class, having that campus lifestyle that just cannot be replaced. Of course, when the coronavirus situation first happened, I completely understand it was all for our safety, and I appreciate that schools are trying to look out for us. But there is one problem, and that is the money side of it. So supposedly, the California State Universities are going to make you pay the same exact amount of money. They're not going to reduce tuition. They're not going to reduce fees. I completely understand that there's a business side to college. Professors have to get paid. The school needs money to survive. But honestly, if I am paying the same amount to do everything online, I'd rather just take a gap year. Now I'm aware that everybody's situation is different, and they might not be able to do a gap year for whatever reason, financial reasons, they want to finish school on time, or their major just doesn't allow them to take a gap year due to all the requirements. But honestly, if I'm paying the same amount of money that I was for an in-person experience but online, it honestly feels like a scam in a way. I'm not trying to sound selfish, and I completely understand the health side of things, but I'd rather risk it just a little bit to have a hybrid approach, which is the next type of opening that I'm going to be talking about. This approach, the hybrid approach, seems to be the most realistic one. It's my favorite one. I think it's exactly how fall is going to look like. With this approach, campus will be completely open, of course with restrictions, but classes will be both in person and online. What's not clear yet on the hybrid approach is how is it actually gonna work? Is the class gonna be split into two? You're gonna have class A, class B. Class A has online classes on certain days, class B has lecture ones on certain days, and then they just rotate throughout the semester. Or something that students might find more favorable is where they get to choose what do they want to do. Do they want to go online or do they want to go in person? This is beneficial to the student because if they don't feel safe about returning to campus, they can be online, but if they do want to go on campus because they miss the in-class instruction, they can do that as well. Now, when classes are in person, they will be following social distancing guidelines, which kind of sucks because I miss being really close to my friends and talking before, during, and after class. In top of the social distancing, certain classes might have more sections, And this website that I read said that some classes might even take place on the weekend, just so you know there could be like less students per actual class. What I like about this approach is that it brings back somewhat of a normal campus life. People are gonna be like walking through campus, you're gonna see your friends throughout the day, you're gonna be able to use the library, of course, all while following social distancing and proper CDC protocols. Obviously, the social life on and off campus will be a lot better compared to if school just goes fully online. On-campus things like clubs, intramural sports, certain activities might be limited, but I think that things like having lunch with your friend won't be the end of the world. Now, the off-campus social scene really depends on the city that you are, and it depends on their limitations to certain places like bars and restaurants. I do think though that like every college student is like insanely anxious just to like go back and meet up with their friends, and honestly it's up to the restaurants and every other place to like make sure that everybody's following the guidelines properly. Now, another approach is focusing more on in-person classes than online classes. So yes, it is still a hybrid approach, but there will be more in-person classes offered than online. With schools that are taking this approach, obviously there's going to be a heavier volume of students on campus on certain times. Of course, those schools are going to be taking the proper precautions, enforcing social distancing. Students have to be wearing masks on campus. They're going to be cleaning and like sanitizing pretty much every square inch on campus, supposedly. And lastly, there's going to be hand sanitizer all over the place. Some schools like mine actually require you to get the flu shot before arriving on campus, which really scares me because I am terrified of needles and I might faint during the process. Another really important component is going to be testing, tracking, and tracing, which is why a lot of schools have announced that they will be offering coronavirus tests at their college health centers. Now, with this plan, since it mainly focuses on campus instruction, dorms do have to open, but of course every school is different and the dorming and residential life is going to be different in every school. Some schools are only going to open up single dorms, while other schools are actually going to use nearby hotels to enforce social distancing. In terms of the classroom, library, and other places on campus, they're actually gonna be like redesigned and like spaced out to make sure that everybody is gonna be following social distancing. And lastly, a lot of these schools are gonna start early and end early to make sure that nobody travels from back home after Thanksgiving. Now, the last approach, which is not gonna be happening anytime soon, so I guess you could just call it a phase, is the going back to normal phase, where college goes back to being what we actually know college as. Obviously, there was no school that said 100%, yes, we are fully returning back to campus, everybody's gonna be like living the same lifestyle. No, college will be completely different this fall. As the situation progresses, everything can change for the better or worse, hopefully for the better. When the outbreak first occurred, and even now, you're always hearing like all over the news, like, oh, classes to be online, college to be online, but keep in mind, you do so much more in college than just go to class. You hang out with people, you go to clubs, you might do like a sport. And honestly, when it comes to like that side of college, the non-academic side, the non-class side, I really have no idea what to expect. Obviously, people are really worried about like the partying and going out, and I'm also really worried about it. I'll be honest, I'm dying to go out with my friends. But being realistic, there's just nothing about the situation that we can do. It is completely out of our control. Will people be going crazy? Will people be going out? Will there be parties and tailgates and all that stuff? Honestly, I think there won't be. And even if they are, it just won't be the same. Honestly, at this point, I just want to like be inside a classroom surrounded by my friends, because I actually miss being on campus with my friends. Yes, college is gonna be different. There's gonna be like a new normal college edition, whatever you wanna call it, but we will get through it together because it is not the end of the world. Actually, with everything going on, it might actually be. No, I'm kidding, it's not gonna end, but it is gonna be a new college environment, and we're just gonna have to adapt and find new ways to enjoy and make the most out of it. Guys, that is it for this video. Leave a comment down below saying like what you think college will look like. Like, what are your expectations? What do you think is gonna happen? That is it for me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with my weekly uploads. That is all for me, but always remember to stay hydrated. I actually have my water here in the back in this little red Solo cup.